Now, in this video, we will be discussing how the opening verses in John are actually a great introduction to the gospel. I will begin by conversationally reading John chapter 1, verses 1 through 18 from the World English Bible. Afterwards, I'll share 3 nuances that I heard while reading it, nuances that have helped me stumble into the abundance that I have been searching for. Then, I'm going to ask you what you think. Ready? Here we go. Now, my name is Charles Yerkes, and this is the Simple Not Shallow YouTube channel. Now, for some time now, I have been on a journey, one of learning how to live in the abundance of the abundant life that Jesus said He came to give. That is, I have been learning how to love, simply, wisely, and well. Well, and the whole purpose of this channel is to create a community that can get together and talk about finding this abundance. It's a place to catch the excitement of learning to love. Thank you for joining me. So, the introduction. Well, let's begin by reading John chapter 1, verses 1 through 18. Now in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Well, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. Now all things were made through Him, and without Him nothing was made that has been made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men, the light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Now there came a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came as a witness, that he might testify about the light, and that all might believe through him. Now he was not the light, but was sent that he might testify about the light. The true light that enlightens everyone was coming into the world. Then he was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not recognize him. He came to his own, and those who were his own didn't receive him. But as many as received him, to them gave he the right to become God's children, to those who would believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of any man, but of God. See, the Word became flesh and lived among us. We saw his glory, such glory of the one and only Son of the Father, full of grace and truth. Now John testified about him. He cried out, saying, "This was he of whom I am said, He who comes after me has surpassed me, for he was before me." Now from his fullness we all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth were realized through Jesus Christ. See, no one has seen God at any time. The one and only Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, has declared him. And that was John 1, verses 1 through 18. Ready for some nuance? I hope so, because here we go. Now, nuance number 1. That is, that this is an introduction to the whole gospel message. Well, it's almost all there in the first 13 verses. Almost. I mean, it doesn't mention the crucifixion or the resurrection, so it's not the entire gospel message, but it is the essence of it. It is the heart of it. See, this nuance comes from seeing verse 12's connection to verse 3. In verse 3, John relates that all things are made by Jesus, which included the very first people, Adam and Eve. Then, in verse 12, he shares how it is also through Jesus that we are remade into children of God. First, Jesus made mankind in the beginning, and then he loved them enough to bother remaking them, to reunite them in a relationship with himself and the Father. That is the heart of the gospel message right there. Nuance number 2. Now this one comes from verses 12 and 13. Here Jesus says that he came so that all who would welcome him would be remade into children of God. Children of God's desire, not of man's, of God's willing, and of His decision. Isn't that an interesting point of view? And here's the nuance. This childhood is not based on human desire. Okay? It's not a human thing to want to get right with God. It is Jesus' coming was God's desire. It was His decision and His will. How cool is that? See, God wants us to be His children. Don't gloss over that. Let that sink in. For you are valuable. God values you enough that it is His decision to have a relationship with you. And it is His will to make that a possibility. Yes, this is meant for everybody. And everybody includes you. Not that this is exclusively for you, but it is definitely for you. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, this is nothing new, I have known this all along, I suggest that you might be missing something. Perhaps you have not heard all of the nuance. For I too have read this passage many, many times before, so yes, the words on the page are not new, they are very familiar. Yet, by slowing down and conversationally reading them aloud, with the seeking a connection with God as the sole intent of my doing so, something has changed. New levels of understanding are being opened up. Ones that had not been opened before. And isn't that what a relationship is all about? Getting to know someone on deeper levels. See, it's not always about finding out new information. It's also about gaining new insights into who you already know. Nuance, number 3. Now, this is the difference between the law, religion, and Jesus. Now, this comes from reading verses 14 through 17. See, the law was a set of rules to follow. It was the basis of the people that the people had in order to be able to relate to God. Jesus then came to bring grace and truth, not more rules. Jesus came to bring grace and truth. So, the abundant life then must be found in abiding in grace and truth, not in getting lost in a religious rule book. The Bible said, "For in Him was life, and the life was the light of men. The Word became flesh and lived among us, full of grace and truth." For the law was realized through Moses. Grace and truth are given and realized through Jesus Christ. Are you beginning to catch the excitement that lives here? Well, next time we will pick up in verse 19. Well, there you go, and there you know. At least 3 of the many nuances that I've heard that have in this reading that both reveal this to be a true introduction of the gospel and are helping me find the abundance in the abundant life. Now, does this ring true to you? If not, why not? Did you hear other nuances that I wasn't able to mention? Do you have another take on these verses in John? I would love to hear what you think, so please tell me in the comment section below. Now, as you read aloud, you may have some questions arise. Ones about the passage that aren't seem to be answered by the passage. Now, when this happens, you may want a good commentary or two to check with. Now, there are several wonderful commentaries on John that are available. I will link to 4 of these in the comments section below. Now, these are chosen for ease of use and for a lower cost, and because I really like them. Now, if you decide to get any of them, please use the links below, as they are affiliate links and they will help support this channel if you do so. Thank you. Now, I will also link to a very wonderful website, BibleHub.com. Not only can you read different translations of any given passage here, there are some wonderful commentaries that you can use as well. And it is all free. No, they are not a sponsor. They don't even know who I am. But in addition to the books I've listed below, I frequently use this site, and I love it. Now, if you liked what you heard, please click that like and subscribe button below. And then once you click that subscribe button, click that little gray bell icon that pops up. This will tell YouTube that you want to be notified each time a new video is posted. Now, one final thing. Please pray for me that I stay true and honest with everything we are reading. See, better men than I have started very, very well and then have fallen. So please ask God that I stay humble, honest, standing, and conversational. Thank you. Well, until next time, love simply, love wisely, and love well. For that is where excitement and meaning dwell.